Hi there. So, as you can see, I'm in bed today. I thought I'd make a little video because it's really difficult for me to make the videos on the hard days. It's so much easier on the good days. But I've bought myself a new phone holder that is absolutely brilliant. It's like a frame that goes over me and over, yeah, it's like it goes up at both sides and across at the top. And you can adjust the height and everything of it, and it's absolutely brilliant. It's been a life changer because I can actually read now while I'm lying down and watch stuff, films and things on my phone. And also, I can make this video without having to worry about not being able to hold my phone properly. So, where do I start? At the moment, I'm just absolutely done in. I'm having a really bad flare up. My brain fog's been really bad for a couple of weeks now. And I've been trying to push through it all. But physically, I'm in pain from like literally the tips of my toes to the tips of my fingers. Everything is just killing me. And it's really, really frustrating because it's a real distraction from I just want to get on with stuff. You know what I'm like. I just want to do stuff. And today I was planning to go to a community lunch as part of this big, I don't know, big community week or something like that that's happening all over the country. And I thought it'd be really good to go to it and do some networking and meeting people. I went to one on Monday and it was really good meeting people, but I must admit, I was socially, I was just exhausted. And I think it was because I was in pain. I was struggling to sit upright in the wheelchair. And I was still trying to talk to people and put on that smiley face. Yeah, everything's fine. Oh, and I was just exhausted. And anyway, I was planning to go to the one today at a different place. And I was going with my carer today, and I just had to message last night and said I just can't cope. I just can't do it. And that's really frustrating. That really gets me down because I know I can't work. I can't manage a paid job, but I try really hard to do as much as I can in the community to support people and to support the community and stuff. And when I can't even do that, it really does get you down a bit, a lot, if I'm honest. It's annoying. It's really annoying. But it made me think, this morning I was reflecting on it all and I was thinking about this whole debate about the government cuts to PIP and the, wanting to get disabled people into work and everything. And I thought I'd just share my thoughts and feelings about that really because, I loved my job as a youth and community worker, or as a youth worker even, last role. And I loved my job as an exam invigilator, and I loved my job as a cake decorator, and I loved my job as a personal assistant. I love working. I love working, and I love doing the tasks that I've got, and I love the feeling of satisfaction when I've done my job well. And it was really hard for me to give up all of those jobs. The only reason I gave them up was because physically I couldn't cope anymore. And I pushed myself beyond my limits to the nth degree with all of them until I was forced to stop. I didn't give any of them up by choice. And I wish now I could still do it. And I see adverts for jobs that I could have done in a previous life, and up here in my head I've still got all the experience and knowledge to do the job. And I see adverts and I think, I could do that. I could do that. Oh, I really want to do that job. And then when I think about it, I'm like, actually, realistically, I can't, because I can't be a reliable employee at the moment. My body lets me down on a daily basis. My brain lets me down on a daily basis, and from an employer's perspective, why would anybody want to hire me? And I'm not saying that to be feeling sorry for myself, but I understand employers take on people that can do the job they need doing. And to take on somebody that can't do the job, or you don't know from day to day whether they're capable of doing the job, or somebody that has to keep phoning in saying, I can't come in today because I'm not well, as an employer, you're not going to take that person on, are you? Or somebody who you have to spend thousands and thousands of pounds making adaptations for. A lot of employers can't afford to do that, So I get it from their perspective, but it does leave a lot of people in the disabled community feeling a bit, not just frustrated, but a bit useless and a bit, I don't know, not wanted. I don't know if that's the right word, but there's so many disabled people that have really good qualifications and experience and have had really good jobs. And I think the government really needs to just understand that there's a lot of people, the majority of people out there that are disabled are not unemployed because, by choice. They don't give up work and claim benefits by choice. Why would anybody do that? I was on a much better salary before than I get benefits on PIP or something. My income was so much higher, and it was so much more rewarding to know that you'd earned it. Why would people? I know that there are some that do abuse the system, but the majority don't. And I think that the government has assumed that the majority are abusing the system. I do think that they need to make tighter, not necessarily tighter checks, but better checks. I think that the people at the DWP need to be much more better informed about disabilities and how they affect people in their daily life and people's genuine intentions. I think they need to have a much more thorough understanding. I think at the moment it's like their job is the money side of things, but they don't really get that involved in the disability side of things. And I just think these decisions shouldn't be made by people that don't really get it and don't really understand. I would like to challenge the MPs who are involved in making these decisions to spend a week in a electric wheelchair, for example, having to use it, not able to get out of it, having to use it for everything for a week. Or another one maybe to live with a disabled person for a week and walk around with them and follow them everywhere they go, do what they do, and just see what challenges they have. But talk to them about talk to them, and you'll see their attitudes towards things. But you can't know these things without spending time with the people that it affects. And in terms of the money and the saving money and getting people back into work, I think that I really do agree with the articles I've read and the things I've heard where people have said, actually, these cuts, these changes are going to put the disability community, a lot of people, into poverty. Just taking away those benefits with no hope, no alternative, no way forward for them. It's just like, it's going back to the dark ages, really, when disabled people were left in their houses to die, just forgotten about. And as a society, we've come so much far forward from that over the last few decades, but this would be a massive, huge step back. I think personally that a better way to deal with it would actually be to spend time and money investing in employers, getting employers and businesses to genuinely understand the concerns that disabled people have about work and what genuine adaptations they could make to enable a disabled person to work. Because I would happily work if work was flexible enough to cope with my various different disabilities. But actually, the bottom line at the moment is that it's not. You know, if there was a job that was something I was trained to do, qualified to do, experienced enough to do, and capable of doing from home, like this, on days when I could manage it, that would be great. but the reality is that at the moment those sorts of jobs are very, very few and far between. So if the government could set up an organisation that that was for the employment of disabled people, that would maybe have jobs boards for disabled people, that specified, where the flexibilities were or were able to be, and what sort of disabilities could be accommodated in those jobs. I think that sort of thing would be far more helpful to disabled people who want to work, because there are a lot of people out there that do want to work. Another thought I've had is that, is there some way of, finding some more voluntary work for disabled people who are on benefits to be able to contribute to society in a meaningful way, not necessarily having the pressure of work and having to earn money, but if they're still receiving the benefits, is there a way where, jobs could be created for people with disabilities to be able to give back to society? I mean, I know that I've taken the initiative myself to do that, and I do get involved in as much as I can in the community to try and give back. But surely there's a lot more people with disabilities out there that could be doing things like that in society. For example, one of the things I do is I'm a school governor at a high school. Excuse me. I've recently had an electric wheelchair, which means that I can get round and do school visits occasionally now if I'm able to do it. But before that, for a long time, for a few years, I haven't been able to get into the school to do the visits, but I have been able to join the governor's meetings online on Teams, a bit like I'm talking to you now. I've been able to join in from home and sitting in my bed, but I've still been able to contribute to the discussion, and give my thoughts and opinions. There are lots of things out there, I'm sure, that people with disabilities could get involved in society and just feel that sense that they're giving back and they're part of something bigger, and that they do have something still to give. They are appreciated. I think if the government focuses on all of those things, they'll build a much stronger society. Whereas if they just cut benefits and take those things away from people, it's just going to cause more discontent and more animosity. And actually, the people who need the help the most, at the end of the day, are going to end up feeling worse. So, yeah, I just wanted to share those thoughts really, because they've been going around in my head for a few weeks now, and I just wanted to kind of get them out really, and I hope that somebody sees this that will be able to make an impact on. Anyway, thanks for listening, and I'll catch up with you another time. Hopefully it'll be a time when I've got a little bit more energy and I can manage to sit in the wheelchair, maybe even get outside in the fresh air, who knows. Let's hope so. Bye for now.